Tennis star Serena Williams is now at the center of this major controversy about gender and women's equality that clearly transcends sports. This weekend, she was playing the U.S. Open final, and as the match got more intense, she and the umpire got into heated exchanges.
Serena was watching her coach give her a hand signal.
Verbal abuse.
And now,
penalty, Mrs. Williams.
If I say a simple thing, a thief because he stole a point from me, does not make, there are men out here that do lot worse because I'm a woman. Because I'm a woman, you're going to take this away from me?
Because I'm a woman, you could hear her say there. Now, she lost that match after getting penalties for breaking her racket and arguing with the umpire. She was also fined $17 grand. Then Williams embraced the 20-year-old who beat her, Naomi Osaka. In a moment, I'll be joined by Maya Wiley and Teray to discuss this. But first, let's take a listen to what Williams herself said about this double standard that she faces.
I've seen other men call other umpires several things, and I'm here fighting for women's rights and for women's equality and for all kinds of stuff. And for me to say thief and for him to take a game, it made me feel like it was a sexist remark. I mean, like, how he's never took a game from a man because they said thief. For me, it blows my mind. The fact that I have to go through this is just an example for the next person that has emotions and that want to express themselves and they want to be a strong woman, and they're going to be allowed to do that because of today. Maybe it didn't work out for me, but it's going to work out for the next person.
I'm joined by Maya Wiley, a civil rights attorney and MSNBC legal analyst, and Teray, a journalist, a former host for the Tennis Channel, who now hosts the Teray Show podcast, and a former colleague and current friend of mine.
Indeed.
I'll begin with you, Maya. The sexism here, why does it matter beyond the court?
It matters beyond the court because literally 42% of women in the workplace say that they've had this experience where the rules didn't apply to them. Most of those women actually report, more than half report that they're either told that they're being too emotional or they're told that they're not competent to do the job they were hired to do and that they have the qualifications to do. And, you know, I think we're seeing both of that a little bit in this scenario where, one, what we're seeing is very harsh penalties against losing a game against Serena Williams for essentially having a very emotional moment because she felt like she was being called a cheat. And I have to say, when I saw that clip, I also saw it as a black woman, because black women and the intersection of stereotypes about women, but also stereotypes about black people, where being an angry black woman is a problem. So it's both being emotional and being angry and emotional being more intimidating, and then the penalties being harsher. And there's a lot of conversation about Carlos Ramos being a stickler for the rules. Clearly he is, but the issue here isn't whether he's a stickler for the rules, it's whether he's a stickler in the same way for women.
Right. Teray, let's listen more to Serena Williams here demanding an apology.
I didn't get coaching. I didn't get coaching. You need to make an announcement that I didn't get coaching. I don't cheat. I didn't get coaching. How can you say that? You owe me an apology. You owe me an apology. I have never cheated in my life. I have a daughter and I stand what's right for her, and I've never cheated. And you owe me an apology.
That comment right there, I have a daughter, right? And it shows you how quickly people change when you become a parent, your place in society, your desire to show a moral face to your child, right? I'm not a cheater, and I would never want my daughter to see this or hear about this and think maybe mommy cheated. And as soon as you have children, you cross that threshold and wanting to start being a better person and create a better world for them. And that moment jumped out at me, and she's allowed Alexis to be so much a part of her public presentation in the year since she was born. She's in the commercials. She's all over Instagram. So she's super proud of being a mother. And so you, Carlos, are calling her a cheater, right? And her integrity and her character are on the line here. And let's be clear, Serena Williams has been at the top of the game for like a decade and a half. She understands the game better than most of the coaches, certainly all of the other players, because she's 37, coming off of a very difficult childbirth, a long year, and she's still still about to win the U.S. Open. And to all the people who tweeted at me saying, well, this is about Serena getting mad because she knew she was going to lose, that shows no understanding of Serena or tennis at all. Because she got beat up in the first set, but in the second set, she was doing what she always does, wipe away the first set, come hard in the second set. They were on equal footing. There's no reason why she couldn't have taken that second set. If Carlos is around the game, the umpire so much, he should know she, less than anybody, is taking coaching. I've been playing tennis for 40 years. I don't know what this means, right? And at other levels of the game, outside of the Grand Slams, we're talking about allowing the players to be coached. So why we're taking this ticky-tack move? I mean, like at that rate, anytime the coach goes, come on, that's coaching. What are we talking about?
It's also pretty clear from some of the writings where folks have complained about the fact that this rule is not enforced very often, right? So there are hardliners who think this rule is important, and there are those who think it's got to go. But either way, there are people who are complaining about it not being enforced. And even all the examples that people are pulling up about Carlos Ramos being such a stickler for the rules do not seem to have this particular problem, except maybe he will give a warning once or twice.
20 seconds. We also see this with the NFL and politicians wanting to put those players sort of back in some kind of box. Like you don't get to act this way.
You know, the umpire has never been in the situation that Serena and Naomi are in, an incredibly emotional situation. The whole world is watching. You need to have more selflessness and more humility to not insert yourself into the game. I'm insulted because she called me a thief. She didn't curse at you. She didn't impede your ability to do this umpiring job and continue going on. You need to let her have that moment and continue on.
Well, it's important, and I couldn't think of two better people to talk us through it. And having gone through the seriousness, I do want to end on a lighter note. Teray always says to me, you know, love means nothing to a tennis player.
I saw that joke coming 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
I know you like my bad jokes.
Nice to see you.